guys, and welcome to Tasmania TV. In this video, I'm gonna go over the clown monster makeup that I did for Halloween, and the toothy side is inspired by an artist called Colin Christian, who's pretty awesome. Check him out on Instagram if you haven't seen him before. I'm gonna start out by making the teeth from a material called Friendly Plastic, which is these tiny white balls, and I have these other prosthetics that I don't use anymore that I made from Friendly Plastic before that I'm gonna reshape. So you put them in boiling water or hot water and then they become clear. Once they're clear, they're soft again, so you can remodel them as many times as you want to. So I'm just fishing one of the pieces out and I'm gonna start working on that one. And as soon as they go white again, they harden. So you have to soften them up again if you're not done with your shaping. So I'm gonna just do different kinds of tooth shapes and different sizes. Most of them are gonna be fangs because I do want this to be a monster mouth. Just making individual teeth, and as you can tell, they harden pretty quickly. So I made a shitload of teeth. I didn't know how many I was gonna end up using, but yeah, it's better to have too many than have to go back and start all over again. So with the teeth made, I am ready to get started on my makeup. And to get my hair out of the way, I'm just putting a beanie on so that I don't get like latex on my hair. I'm going to start out by using this white pencil liner to map out the shape of the monster mouth, and I'm also going to gently map out the traditional clown mouth on the other side. I don't have to follow these lines exactly, but it's just helpful to have a bit of an instruction. And then I'm going to use something called soft putty that I'm going to attach with spirit gum, and then I'm going to be using Vaseline on my fingers so that I don't stick. And I'm using my palette knife to cut the putty into smaller pieces, like kind of small little sausages. And I'm just going to do one section of the mouth at a time, so I'm not covering the entire area. With the spray gum right now, I'm just doing part of it. And then using my fingers to tap that until it becomes tacky. You should be able to find these products at a Masquerade store or anything like that. And then Vaseline on my fingers so that I can work with the putty. And then I'm basically just placing that little sausage onto my face. And you can use your palette knife to even out the edges if you like, or you could use your fingers. As long as you keep applying that Vaseline, you're gonna be able to create really, really smooth edges, which is what we want. We want this to blend into our natural skin. So just working my way over that, keep adding more so that I get that texture, and I don't want to build up too thick. The reason to use the putty in the first place is to have something to build the teeth into. So I don't want to build like this super thick texture of putty. I just want to have like kind of like a second skin, but then I'm going to do a couple of more lumpy parts into that mouth. So it's not going to be completely smooth, but I don't want it to be super big either. But just go ahead and do whatever you like for this look. So what I'm going to do next is make room for the teeth. I'm not going to start by sticking those in right now. First, I'm going to use the end of a makeup brush, just dip that into some Vaseline, and use that to create the holes for the teeth. Not all of these holes are going to have teeth in them because the holes on their own look pretty fucking disgusting. So there's going to be teeth in some of them, and some of them I'm going to leave as holes. So I'm just using the end of the makeup brush to just go over that entire area and creating the holes. I just press the end of the brush in and then twist it and then carefully pull it out so that I don't remove the putty. You can do different sizes if you like. You don't have to follow a specific pattern. Just create as many holes as you're happy with. I'm then going in with a toothpick to create a couple of smaller holes so that they're not all the same size. You can also use the toothpick to kind of roughen up the edges of some of the other holes as well if you don't want them to be super neat in their rounded shape. After that, it's time to break out my liquid latex, and I'm doing this to set the putty, because the putty is going to continue to be soft if you don't set it with something. So I use the liquid latex and just a regular makeup sponge, and then dab that all over the putty. Into the holes as well, but just not filling them out. And the latex is going to help those edges blend into your skin as well. Then, while that dries, I'm airbrushing my face with white, and I'm using an Airbase foundation here. This is one creepy clown, so I'm not looking for perfection at all. I'm purposely making it messy. And then I'm kind of going over it a little bit with a napkin, kind of dabbing it, using my fingers to dab it, just to mess it up even more. Do not want perfection at all here. Then I'm just doing a second coat of latex with that sponge again. 2 layers is enough for this, so I'm not going to need to go over it anymore. Then, once that's dry, I'm just going over the latex with a translucent powder so that it's no longer sticky, so that we can apply makeup onto it. Today I'm going to be using an alcohol-activated makeup palette from Tim 2, and I'm mixing white, red, and a little bit of orange to create this sort of sickly-looking pink flesh tone look. I'm going all over that monster mouth with this fleshy-looking tone. Just covering that and using a regular makeup brush for that. Also covering half of my lips. Just be careful to not get this in your mouth, because it is 99 or 98% alcohol. That's probably gonna sting if you get it in your mouth. And then I'm going into that red color alone and just adding red into all of the holes. Just making those more three-dimensional and obviously creating some blood. And then I'm going over that quickly with a sponge to get some texture and just adding a little bit more red to that pink. Then I am going in with black and red. I'm not using too much black, just a little bit, just to deepen up that red inside the holes and make them look even more disgusting. If you didn't think that was possible, it totally is. These holes are gross. Just going over all of them and doing kind of a sloppy job so that I get a little bit of blood outside of the edges of the hole as well. Then I'm going to do some shading on the left side of my face. So I'm doing a super exaggerated shading here, and I'm going to do a 3-step process for the shading. I'm starting out with kind of a thick rounded out brush and doing the less detailed shading. So the chin, the cheekbone, the center of my nose, creating sort of wrinkly brows and forehead folds and everything like that. Then I'm going in with a matte white eyeshadow and creating some exaggerated highlights in between those shading lines. Then it's time for step 2 of the shading, and I'm using that same cold brown eyeshadow. All I'm doing now is using a smaller, more detailed brush so that I can go over each and every line that I've done, but just give it a bit more depth. Then I'm gonna put some blusher onto my cheeks, so just doing that really exaggerated round pink cheek. Then I'm gonna go back into the alcohol activated palette with a detail brush and mix red with black again to do that traditional clown mouth. And I want to do that in a really dark shade compared to that light pink shade that we have on the other side, so that we create an interesting mix of those two colors. Then I want to blend that dark color into that pink so that there is a proper transition between the two mouth halves. So just using my finger to dab. And doing some more shading around that mouth. And then I'm going back into the palette again for some red and creating that traditional clown nose. Just doing a cute little rounded button nose. And just to make it a bit more 3D, I'm using a white eyeliner just to create some flicks of light in there. Then it's time for the teeth. And I am using spirit gum to attach those. You can use a Q-tip if you like. I just ended up using the actual brush from the spirit gum. It can be a little bit difficult to tap the holes because they're holes, but you don't have to tap spirit gum for it to become tacky. You can just wait a little bit and that'll happen on its own. And then just go ahead and stick your teeth in. And like I said, I'm not gonna use all the holes to fill them with teeth. Some are gonna remain holes because that just makes it even creepier and grosser. Then I'm using that red color again and a detail brush to add some blood, goopy, disgusting blood to the edges of the teeth. And one tooth fell out while I was doing this, so I had to reattach it again. Then I'm also going to use that same color to create some running blood streams from some of the holes, just to make it even more disgusting, because why the hell not? And since this is alcohol activated makeup, this shit will stay on all night long. You can, however, do this with aqua colors as well if you don't have access to alcohol activated makeup. Then I'm going to put in a white contact lens on the monster side. Then I'm going to use a red lip liner to do the waterline for my eyes, just to make them look a little bit sick. Then I am adding some black eyeshadow to the healthy clown side of my face. And again, not doing this neatly. This ain't no beauty makeup. Then I'm going in with this black felt eyeliner pen from Makeup Revolution just to create that sort of angry lying down S eyebrow. I'm also going to use the slimmer side of that two-sided pencil to just enhance the shading a little bit more, and that is part 3 of the shading. So just going over all of those lines and just defining them a little bit more. After that, guys, the makeup is done. So all we have to do now is get into costume. And to see my costume, you have to check out the upcoming video where you get to see a peek from the party, and you're also going to be able to see what my friends wore for the party. So happy Halloween! Hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions, as always, put those in the comments and I'll get back to you. If not, I shall see you in my next video. Take care of yourself. Bye, guys!